Welcome back to the show. We are Green Room Radio, the dopest radio show in Las Vegas. I am here today with my man, Mr. Full-Time CEO Will Roundtree.
Yes, sir.
Who's been with us now for quite a while.
Yes.
I actually have, before I get to my wingman, little Rach over here, I actually have a anniversary present for Will here for being on the show. You ready for it, Will?
Stay ready, True. Come on, let's go. Okay. Got this autograph with Nas.
There it is.
They already know this is my favorite rapper of all time.
So Will told me his favorite rapper of all time was Nas.
That's right.
And
Appreciate
so I got that. I got that done for him. The premiere was extra.
Oh shit. Okay.
Which I didn't know that was coming.
Yeah, I like Primo. That's my favorite
Primo.
DJ.
Like I said, I got my wingman, Little Rach, and then we have a very special guest on the show today, Mr. Erik Carlberg, aka Ablaze.
What's up, man?
What's up? How are you?
I'm good, man.
Thank you for being here. Obviously, today we're supposed to have Mr. Mystery.
Yeah,
and we'll just call it's a Vegas mystery.
No,
why he's not here?
I'm gonna call him out. Mystery, you were supposed to be here, brother, and we're gonna reschedule. You're gonna come on the show. You got to see True's studio. You got to meet the dude. Thundercat is here. Hawaii is here.
Hawaii is in the house.
You missed out, man. But he did apologize. He said,
"Oh no,
tell True I fucked up. Go do the show."
I said, I was telling Matt, I said, you know what? When you mentioned Thursday, I'm like, listen, when people come to Vegas, you get them that first day. Like you don't take the chance of.
So I'm hearing all these freaking names. Like we got Thundercat, we got Hawaii, we got Ablaze. I'm like, okay, so if everyone's like listening, wondering who are these people and what are these names? Apparently, you guys are dating coaches. You guys are wingmans. You guys help people actually get game. I feel like that's pretty cool. Like,
that's what's up. Yeah.
How'd you even get into that lifestyle?
Hey, so just to add to that, since we're on Mystery, do you know the story behind how Mystery became Mystery? How he got the name?
He didn't show up nowhere.
Oh man. I know that I've asked Mystery this question before, and he gave me a super off the wall answer about Mystery being is it an incubus or a succubus? A female like spirit of some sort?
Succubus.
A succubus.
Yeah, I've been called that one before.
No, he gave me some weird story about Mystery being a female succubus. I got to ask him again. I don't know where Mystery came from.
So where did Ablaze come from?
So honestly, I just thought it sounded like a cool name. Everyone in the pickup scene had a name. Originally, it started on these chat rooms where guys didn't want their identity revealed. So everybody picked a name.
Because they were all married, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
So
everyone did it that way. And then it became more about creating an alter ego, creating the best version of yourself and stepping into that. And Ablaze just sounded like a cool pickup name, so that, I don't know, it kind of came to me. The name came to me, I think a little bit abstractly and artistically, and the name just kind of appeared and it stuck.
I didn't even know there was a pickup community. Like now that you're talking about this, I'm like,
so when you say pickup community,
this?
where are these pickup communities and how can I get in them?
So the community is kind of fragmented now, but it was started originally.
Like what?
Yeah. No, it started originally by Ross Jeffries back in the day, had a forum, and everybody was on this one forum, and then it split into multiple forums. Neil Strauss wrote this book called The Game, Penetrating the Secret Society of Pickup Artists, where he went and took pickup artist training with Mystery, with a bunch of other prominent names in the early 2000s. Mystery started Project Hollywood, where he brought a bunch of pickup artists to live in a mansion and go out and meet women. And then the VH1 show, The Pickup Artist, really set the community on the map, and it kind of went mainstream. And then ultimately it fragmented into all sorts of different personalities wanting to control their own communities. But at one time, it was a united community where you could go network with other pickup artists worldwide.
So kind of like I miss, in my younger days, these forum chat rooms. I know what you're talking about. So it's kind of like being in a chat, like a Facebook, like how people
the AOL chats back in the day.
The AOL
chat.
Yeah. Where you'd have a particular subject and everybody
it's almost
would
like
come.
Clubhouse.
Yeah.
But people would meet live too. People would meet up. They would go out and wing each other. I could go to a city in America and find the local pickup artist lair. How's that for a creepy name? A lair, right?
Vampire.
Some Dungeons and Dragons type shit, right? But I could meet other pickup artists and instantly have a wingman, somebody to go out with and approach women and run our game.
So you guys were just picking up girls together, pretty much.
So yeah, and it's not just about pickup. It's not just about hooking up and getting laid. Some guys get in the community because they're genuinely struggling with this area of their life. And pickup artists give pretty explicit technical training when it comes to meet all the way up to beginning a sexual relationship. So sexual escalation is a very tricky thing, right? If you escalate too quickly in an uncalibrated manner, she's creeped out. If you don't escalate soon enough, if you let the window of what I call the escalation window, if you let that window hover open too long, it starts to close. Oh, he doesn't like me, or he's not man enough to go after what he wants, right? So
I've never had that problem.
So pickup artistry, it's definitely for guys that want to get laid and want to hook up and want to be adventurous, but it's also for guys that they need some technical training on this. They weren't taught this stuff in school.
So are pickup artists generally, they want to be single and date multiple people, or are they looking for a relationship to find the right one?
If I'm going to generalize, I'd say it's split about 50-50. We have guys that come on our boot camp that just want to date around and they want to hook up. And then we have guys that come on our boot camp that are like, yeah, hooking up is cool, but really I'd like to find a girlfriend or a wife. And I would say that 80% of dudes wind up wanting something more serious and long-term. There are very few guys that just are in the game for life type thing. Yeah. So it's a mix.
So I have a question, Erik. So when you think about, what you've put together, especially in your book, The Vortex of Love, when you think about a system, because you talk about there's a system with this whole dating, and pickup stuff. System is an acronym that stands for saving yourself time, energy, and money. Is that kind of what it is that you guys are doing, is saving the man some time and going through the rejection or learning how to close it sooner or anything of that nature? Is that what the system is put in place for?
A perfect acronym, yes. So if you think of a sales analogy, if you have a product or service that's of value and you learn a system that allows you to more effectively and efficiently convey the value of your product or service, that's an effective use of your time and energy, right? So same thing with this. This is basically teaching a guy a system, a flexible, adaptable, customizable system for efficiently and effectively conveying his personality to a woman, and so that she can choose him, right?
It reminds me of the movie Hitch with Will Smith, where he was helping men. And I like what you mentioned, that sometimes men just lack the confidence and they don't know how to either communicate, they don't know what to ask, or like you say, how to close, no pun intended, how to close the gap when trying to get with a woman. But when I think about the movie Hitch, because, I'm not sure exactly, like what your system consists of, it really is just about helping the man find his inner confidence. Is that what your system consists of?
So confidence is a huge part of this, certainly, right? But this is a mystery analogy for you, okay? If you're going to jump out of an airplane, would you rather have confidence or competence, right? You need to know how to pull the ripcord.
Competence,
you need to know how to operate the parachute, right? So confidence is often a byproduct of skill set development.
Absolutely.
So if a guy already has a good ability to convey his personality, he has some game, right? But he just doesn't have the confidence, then we do different exercises to get him out of his head and get him into a state of flow, and all of a sudden his game is unleashed, right? But some guys, you get them in a confident state of mind and they still don't know what to say and do. So we really hone in on the technicalities of the game. For example, teaching a guy how to convey his personality. Do you have personality conveying stories that you can run? If you're somebody who has a good conversational background, you're a good speaker, you're good to go. You don't need to work on your storytelling. But some guys, they're not good at telling their stories. They don't know their material. They don't have those knockout punches. So it is about confidence, but it's also about competence. Definitely. It's about learning the system.
So do you guys in mystery, is there such a thing as, have you ever had somebody do a boot camp Because I always say in music, you either have it or you don't.
Mm.
Do you believe it's the same way in this? Have you ever had a student come on and he just for whatever reason, no matter how much game you guys gave him, he just couldn't get it?
So I like to think through the lens of an artist as well. And there's the difference between an artist who's going to make it in the music world and it's someone who's going to just create music for their own love of music. So I never look at a student and think this guy's doesn't have it. He's doomed, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's somebody out there for him. And even if there's not, he needs to learn to create his own style of game and run his own style of game, create his own art and love it for the sake of the art. And if he finds the person, then he does. And if he doesn't, he doesn't. But at least he tried. So I view this as opposed to viewing this as like a make it or break it thing. I try to encourage all of my students to develop a style of game that they're going to be able to run sustainably over a long period of time and that feels right to them. So
now on these boot camps, so when a student, he'll come pay to do this boot camp, do people do refreshers? Do you get students back?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Or do you feel like once you train them, they're good to go?
So we have students that come back because they really need another boot camp or they need another one-on-one session with me. I do one-on-one training as well. We have guys that come back and do training because they need it. And we have guys that come back because they enjoy it. A boot camp is an experience, You're meeting Mystery, you're meeting Ablaze, you're learning the game on a technical level. And then you're going in field and getting experience under your belt. So it's, there are self-improvement junkies out there. They go train with Tony Robbins, then they go train with
like a Gary V.
The Gary V and so forth, right? It's the same with this. We definitely have repeat clients.
Now, I know you just did a boot camp here in Vegas. What was it like with, working with Vegas women, I guess you would say, for these guys at the boot camp?
Oh, yeah.
I honestly, women always surprise me, I think, in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
You're certainly going to run into women that are high and mighty and who are you talking to me and this and that. But women are good at looking at a guy and assessing where he's at and handling things gracefully, right? So we have some students that are really struggling right now. They don't have much experience and they're walking up to some attractive Vegas women that are there to party and that are concerned with their social status and looking over their shoulders. But they take it in stride. They're pretty nice. There's this narrative out there right now that women are so fickle and mean and selfish and aggressive. You're going to encounter that. That's part of the game. But I would say that's largely not been my experience. I would say that women are generally pretty friendly and accepting. When a guy steps to them in the wrong way, if he really rubs her the wrong way, sure, she's going to get, some backlash. But for the most part, it's a subtle back turn. It's what I call a C7 tactic. A C7 tactic is an indirect signal that creates a repellent-like energy that makes the guy feel pushed away.
Yeah, you could feel it.
Yeah.
You can feel
Now,
that.
my question is, would it matter how the male looks? Like,
I
say
was about
he's
to- I
not
was about to say, ask that
conventionally
question.
attractive, right? And I put quotation marks about conventionally attractive, right? What if he's like, maybe a little overweight, or what if he's got this or that, or he's balding or something like there's along those lines? Like, how would you say their approach is with women?
So it depends on the woman's ideal. So this gets into what I call ideal mate theory. I don't call it ideal mate theory, to clarify. Ideal mate theory is a mate selection theory that's been studied extensively. And it says that every woman has an ideal in her mind of what she's looking for. And not only that, but she has an ideal of the way the courtship process goes down. Even a woman that doesn't have a set ideal in her mind, she's open to meeting many types of guys. Maybe she doesn't care about looks as much and so forth. That in and of itself is an ideal. It's an ideal of open-mindedness. So the degree to which a guy's looks matters is dependent upon the ideal that a given woman has in her mind. And this, if I may real quick too, this is in stark contrast to a lot of the advice that's out there. Most coaches are saying, this is what women want. We know what they want according to the science. Therefore, you should be this guy. And they're basing all of this on evolutionary and economic mate selection theory. This is what the whole dating and pickup field is built on, evolutionary and economic mate selection theory. There are other mate selection theories out there. I outline those different mate selection theories in my book, The Vortex of Love. And I believe that IMT, ideal mate theory, is the king of mate selection theories because it's more all-encompassing. It's a comprehensive.
Now, what do you say for the men that keep going after the wrong women? Because I feel like there's some men that chase the wrong women consistently and they keep getting the wrong results, you know? And it's like, why are they trying to go after that certain type of woman? They should be going after something like more fitting. So like how can they find the right one, you know, if they keep chasing the wrong one because they want this specific type?
Yeah.
Or they're attracting that specific type.
I hear what you're saying. So there have been different phases in my life where I thought I wanted a certain type of woman, and then I learned better. And
been there too with men.
Yeah, it's a universal struggle, right? So there's only so much guidance and experience that I can impart to a guy, and sometimes he needs to learn on his own. So for example, it sounds like this is where you're going with this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but guy wants a super attractive woman that doesn't have much in common with him personality-wise, that's toxic and so forth. Why doesn't he just find someone that's more his speed?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, there's a certain amount of learning on your own you have to do. Sometimes I have to let a guy go after the wrong women many times and, you know, beat his head against the wall. I can guide him as much as possible. I can tell him, look, here's some of the pitfalls that are going to come with that. But I also don't have a rule book for the universe. You know, maybe we should all be going for the most attractive mates we possibly can. And, you know, evolution wants us to do that. Maybe it is all about looks, money, status, and so forth. I don't think it is. That hasn't been my experience, but I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't have a rule book of the universe. So for me, personality connection, soul connection is so much more important. But it depends on what a guy's ideal is.
So to kind of piggyback off Lil Rach's question, a couple months ago, I remember there was a guy he was all over the news talking about he had a micro penis. He's never dated. He's never had a girlfriend.
Aww.
So how does, and I'm not sure what the stats are on that, but like, have you had to help someone overcome like being a lack of confidence sexually? Has that been a target audience for you as well?
So first of all, I feel like
you're not the guy with the micro penis.
You're gonna have to ask my wife. Babe, do I have a micro penis?
I'm kidding.
I think I'm doing all right in that department. But first of all, whoever put him on the news and allowed him to tell the whole world that he has a micro penis, I feel like they have a little bit of moral responsibility there. Like, I wouldn't bring somebody on.
He's been like on a campaign telling everyone.
I guess, man. You know, hey,
must be a book coming.
To each their own, man. But no, there's definitely lack of sexual confidence. I work with virgins. I've worked with guys that are virgins in their 30s and 40s and so forth.
Crazy to even think of.
What I typically do in that scenario is a lot of visualization. So I want a guy to sort of lose his virginity in his own mind and imagination before he actually loses his virginity. Because he's going to have to go out there and meet a woman, and he's going to have to escalate in some regard. So if he's at least visualized it, you know, it's not going to go down exactly as he imagines it, but I can say, here's kind of a stock standard way that sexual escalation normally goes down. So that can reduce his anxiety a little bit, and then he's got to go out there and you know, figure it out.
Yeah.
And if he gets nervous in the moment, I just say, listen, all you have to say to the woman is, hey, it's been a little while for me. I'm a little nervous. I apologize. And once again, women are super gracious in this department.
Yeah, I think it's crazy you said that, because I tell people I spent most of my adult life in isolation. And I hear that's where you find your most success. So when I do go out, a lot of times I'll tell people, even friends, I'll say, hey, I'm kind of like socially awkward. Like I really don't know how to act. And it's weird coming from a music background. But when you spend so much time by yourself, I catch myself thinking, like, am I saying the right thing? Am I like, do I know how to, you feel like you forgot even how to speak to a woman.
Oh, yeah.
Or anybody.
I experience that too, man. When I'm too deep in the weeds on the tech side of my business or writing my book or whatever, I have to go out and interact with people. And I've got to put that social thing back on, right? But again, I think, like in the sexual department, like you were saying, especially, women are very accepting, like, of that. You know, they know this is like, man, there's so many just half-baked ideas out there. Yeah, right? Like if you're with a dude and you really like him and you can tell he's a little bit nervous sexually, which women can tell that instantly, you're going to work with him, you know? You're going to like ease him through that.
I mean, I'm questioning that because I might really like a guy, but if he's lacking in certain areas and he just can't get to it, I don't know how I don't know how if I feel it anymore.
Fair,
women
fair.
get the ick very, very quickly.
Fair.
So it's like I feel like that's the thing now. How do men, have that confidence? How can they get around that without giving the woman the ick? Because men can give the woman ick very quickly.
See, but that's more a part of your ideal, right? Mm-hmm. So if a guy doesn't have sexual confidence for you, it's instant ick. Like, I need a dude that's on my level, right? That's
okay,
you.
Fair. So then there's the right ideal out there then.
My experience has been that most women don't have such a rigid ideal. Okay. So some people have rigid ideals or a rigid attraction threshold. I talk about this in my book as well. Most women I found have some degree of tolerance. Like, if the guy is totally clueless in the bedroom, he's going to turn off a lot of women, right?
Sure.
But if you really like him and he's amazing in every other regard, he just has a few little confidence issues to work out in the bedroom. Yeah. Are you really going to next him?
No, not necessarily. But how long am I going to stay if it's not in the right type of way?
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, if it's not satisfying my satisfactions, like what I need,
That's again up to each person.
Mm-hmm. That is very true.
How long you want to tolerate
if you need a freak, you got to find a freak.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But no, I'm saying that like women do have like they need other things too.
Yeah.
So like if the man can't provide all that, then
I got a good question. So to build on what she's saying, so people have asked me. They think because if you're traveling the world or you're on tour, you're getting all these girls. And I'm like, you could be, and it's for all the wrong reasons. Mm-hmm. I said, but, they've always asked me, well, they're surprised, like, oh, you just don't go just hook up with fans or people like that. And I'm like, I've always had long-term relationships because I feel sexually it's better when it's long-term versus the, just these little one night flip one, that doesn't. I feel like that's never satisfied me at all.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that people that, there's a type of hooking up that is more closely related to a drug addiction than it is to love. Going out and just getting laid and having that rush, it's satiating a primitive part of our mind, similar to eating a bunch of cookies, drinking a bunch of beer. And then there's a deeper, more existential type of sex that is more fulfilling. I agree with that 1,000%. And to your other point as well, we work with guys that are celebrities. We work with high-powered CEOs and executives. If you saw these dudes on the surface, you'd think there's no way this guy's struggling in the sexual department. He's making money. He can get on a stage and give a presentation to 100 people. He drives nice cars. He's in good shape. He doesn't have game. Game is the separator.
I've run into that with I have a lot of friends who play sports professionally. And I've noticed that a lot of athletes are socially awkward and they run into that a lot. Has that been?
Absolutely. And another worry of athletes and different high-powered people is sexual escalation. So maybe they can build attraction, they can get into a conversation with a woman, but they're so afraid to move it forward because they don't want to get Me Too'd. They don't want to get labeled creepy. That makes sense. So this is a very sensitive part of the courtship process that we hone in on. And this is another reason that I think people gravitate to pickup, because pickup is going to give you explicit technical advice on sexual escalation. Not always great advice. Let me just clarify. It's not like the pickup artist scene is awash with brilliant advice on sexual escalation. It's actually one of the least articulated parts of the process. Funny enough, you would think that they get really into that, but it's a lot more the front end of the attraction building phases of it. The sexual escalation side is more tricky. And maybe because a lot of these pickup artists don't have as much experience in the sexual escalation department, but this is something that I definitely hone in on with clients.
Do you sometimes get clients who want to join the pickup industry just for the sport of it, no pun intended, and just, it helps them keep their act sharp?
Yeah. We have guys, it's all different types, There are some guys that never want to settle down and they really enjoy living a more sexually adventurous lifestyle.
Well, not even just sexually. They just enjoy the social part of being able to go out, meet people, and different things of that nature.
Too, absolutely, 100%.
So what happens during these boot camps? It's like you guys meet in a room, and then what? Like, what do you guys normally do?
Yeah, so we take them through lecture portion, seminar training, where we outline all of our systems, our structures. Mystery teaches his M3 model. I teach my Vortex of Love. We do role playing. We get the guys warmed up. We go over a bunch of stuff, seminar style. And then we break for a little bit. We rest up, and then we go in field. We go in these complementary in-field sessions. So they're not officially a part of the training. Every guy's got to fend for himself. Every guy's got to assume
I bet you guys have seen some shit.
Yeah, we've seen some stuff, man. It's usually pretty harmless, but yeah, no, there's some interesting stuff that happens out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's for liability reasons and other things like that, the infield sessions are complimentary. Any advice we give is complimentary at that point. We're not like officially on the clock. So it happens in the seminar, and then you go out into the real world and make it happen.
And I mean, what would you say somebody like Mystery? I mean, does he have, is there such thing as a success rate?
I was just thinking
is he in
that.
the 80s, 90s, 100s? I mean, does it change with, like you're saying, does it change with age?
How do you determine success in that? If you get laid, if you get married, if you're in a relationship?
That's a good question too, right? And each person's definition of success is their own. So for me, an interaction is a success if I genuinely gave it my best shot, no matter how it turns out, whether I win, lose, or draw, that's a success. If I go into an interaction and I sabotage myself, or I leave the set early, or I don't put my best foot forward, I'm going to feel that. I'm going to know I only gave it 80%, 90%. But success rate specifically, are we saying how many interactions does it take to get laid?
Well, no, like just saying, like if say Mystery was to been doing this 20 years, would he say 80% of my students, it was a success, them taking my boot camp? I mean,
is there sure.
Is there a number? I mean, is there a time where it's like a failure rate? Maybe it's just the way it is. It's the year, it's the timing.
This is going to sound bold, but hear me out. I think that there's really close to 100% success rate. And the reason for that is it all starts with a consultation.
I need a consultation.
Yeah, we can do it, man. We'll set it up.
As soon as this is over, I'm going to be right out there.
But so it starts with a consultation where I do a genuine inventory on the guy. My goal is to understand his game and his experience and his goals as thoroughly as possible. And then what I do is I tell him what we can offer him, and I don't offer them anything extravagant. It's not like take our boot camp and you're going to be, you're going to have a harem of 21-year-olds in like a week, right? We offer improvement. We offer moving you from where you're at further down towards your goals. But I never make extravagant promises to guys. So they come on boot camp after a consultation with me. They do the boot camp. We follow up with some Zoom calls afterwards. And they're relatively satisfied almost 100% of the time because we deliver what we promise. We're not bait and switching them. If I told them, hey, take this boot camp, man, and you're going to get laid and you're going to do this and that. No, there's this, we can't guarantee that. So
would you say, do you guys ever watch these guys in action, like actually go do the drill?
Oh, yeah.
Now, does a guy ever pick a girl and you just know automatically, like, is there expectation like, yo, you're not ever going to pull that girl? Do they generally do that, or do you feel like they kind of stay they know kind of their realm?
So in general, when a guy's first starting out, we don't want him to cherry pick too much because these guys are already cherry picking their approaches. They're already assuming the woman doesn't want to talk to them. So in general, we have a guy sort of just, if she makes you look twice, you should probably try to talk to her. If she made you do a double take, she at least had her makeup on point or her clothes. Maybe you aren't into her after you talk to her for a few minutes, but we don't want them scoping out opportunities too long. You start to get in your head. It's better to sort of move before your anxiety can catch up to you. But certainly there are definitely times where a guy's moving towards a girl and I'm going, it's not going to happen. Yeah.
So is the foundation of like what you guys are teaching within your system, is it pickup lines? Is it conversation? Is it personality? Is it like, what is the kind of the initial, communication form with that, woman that you're teaching them?
I like for a guy to have a comprehensive understanding of the game. So I like to teach the structure of my Vortex. Mystery teaches the structure of his M3 model. So we teach a guy structure. We teach them material, or what I call tactics and techniques, and sequences as well, which is a series of techniques strung together. There's delivery. there's mindset, there's logistics. There's about 6 or 7 key frameworks that I want to teach a guy. And once he understands those 6 or 7 key frameworks, he can build a custom style of game, something that feels right for him, not how I want him to run his game, not how everybody thinks he should do it, how he thinks he should do it, and how he thinks he can do it sustainably over a long period of time. Because there's a certain amount of longevity that you need to get good at this.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just learn this overnight. And some guys do. Some guys take off like a rocket ship. But generally speaking, it's like jujitsu.
Right.
It's like martial arts.
That's
You
a
have
good
to
one.
train.
Do you ever get people who are in sales who just want to improve their overall level of competency as well as confidence and just knowing how to communicate? Because I would assume that it parallels. You got to learn how to deal with rejection. You got to know how to, find a target in all of those different, aspects. So do you ever get people who are coming saying, hey, I'm coming just to learn the system of how to be able to communicate socially with people?
Absolutely. The Vortex, I could easily turn this into a sales system.
I could see that. I definitely
I've been into
see
sales. I've been in sales for a long time in a variety of industries. I have a ton of experience in sales, and there's a very, very close parallel.
Mm-hmm.
There are many different analogies we could pull here. I like to view it also through the lens of a musician, of an artist. This isn't just about creating a scientifically proven system. It's also about creating art that you like, that resonates with you, right? Rick Rubin style, right?
Oh,
Create
yeah.
the music that's in your heart. That's going to resonate so much harder. And not only when you create the music that's in your heart, you think, okay, so I'll attract the women that are right for me, but maybe I won't get as many in total. You'll find that when you develop a style of game that is true to you, you will not only attract women that are more congruent with your personality, but you may attract more women in total, because walking to your own beat is in and of itself an attractive quality.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a question. So when I was touring, and I would say this is in my super younger years, I was like at a point where like Thundercat over here, I was dating multiple people and different girls in different states, and like I said, that really wasn't my style at all, but it was just happening. And then what was weird was the lack of care. Like I didn't care. I didn't give 2 shits because I'm on to the next state. I couldn't get the girls away from me. So then when the touring came to an end, I went into a drug rehab at 30.
Mm-hmm.
And I told myself, okay, so, we've done this bad, we've robbed, we've cheated on girls, we've done all kinds of stuff. And then I said to myself at 30 years old, I said, I'm never going to lie or cheat on a girl again.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, one thing I can tell you with keeping that, I call it my 11-11 promise. I've been steamrolled ever since.
Mm.
And so the thing is like, why when these girls were all like, you're dating this bitch, and they're all mad, but none of them wanted to leave your side.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I would have to unpack that with you a little bit more. I don't know if we could even fully unpack that here, because I had a similar experience, but mine was the opposite. So I remember in my mid-20s, I hooked up with a woman, and I knew that she wasn't going to be right for me in a relationship, but I wanted to hook up with her, sue me. And we hooked up for a couple weeks, and it was fun. It was whatever. And then we fizzled out. And then I hit her up a few months later because I was lonely and I wanted to hook up again. And she came back and hooked up with me again. And I broke it off again with her, right?
Mm-hmm.
A few months later, I hit her up and she's like, yeah, I don't want to see you because I know what this is. And I'm like, well, what is this? And she's like, at this point in time, I was just thinking, what can I say to get her over to hook up with her again? And I'm not even going to say what I said because, some of your listeners will just, well, what'd you say? I want to know, right? But no, I said some things and I got her over and she hooked up with me again. And I remember just feeling this overwhelming sense of guilt. Here's this woman naked, sleeping next to me all peacefully. And here I have to rip her heart out again and say, hey, babe, sorry, And I did. And she cried. And she's like, what the fuck, Erik? Step up your game. If I'm not the girl for you, step it the fuck up.
So right there, I mean, did you feel like because she saw that you may not have been attracted, or that's what it was, it made her more attracted? Because I feel like when the girls found out like, oh, well, he's with this other girl.
Yeah,
It's like they want to chase.
They liked me
the women
because
want to chase.
That's on there.
sometimes a girl you're with,
Attraction until jealousy.
yeah, like they'll be attracted of your relationship and it'll make them want to be with you or think they want to be with you.
Because the women want to be number one.
Yeah.
And women almost have like that competition between themselves. Like, oh, well, I want to be the prettiest one. Well, I want to be the one that he puts the eyes on more. I want to be the one that, this and that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like women do have that. So
yeah, there are different styles of game. Again, this is kind of, I would call it more kind of the dark side of the game. When you're using jealousy, when you're using fear of loss, when you're using, the ad populum fallacy. Look at these other women want me, and you're leveraging sort of that desire, that
selection.
Right. So, but to my point, my experience was actually the opposite. I decided from that day forward, I'm not going to lie to women anymore. You know what I mean? I'm going to be a straight shooter. And I actually found that my sex life got more robust. I attracted more women. And there was a certain type of game that was now not within my realm because I wasn't using that dark side of the game. But I feel like overall, everything just got better, Like women generally want to hook up with guys that are good. They like that little streak of bad boy because the bad boy's not ashamed of his sexuality. He's confident. He goes after what he wants. But the bad boy comes with a bunch of downsides as well. And the nice guy, he gets the bad rap, because he's weak, he supplicates and so forth. But
that's what I feel like 100%.
There are some positive aspects of the nice guy too. So if you can take the positive aspects of the nice guy, the positive aspects of the bad boy and combine them and get rid of the negatives, now you're truly the
Now you're
prize.
like the king.
Yeah,
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
You talk about your framework being scientifically proven. Is it scientifically proven based off your patterns and your experience? Or is it on like a psychological level? We talk about women being jealous. Are we attracted to the man, or are we just the perceived threat of competition is what heightens the attraction?
So this book is one part science and one part art. Okay, so there is science in here. Many of these ideas can be proven with science and backed up by science, but there's also an element of creativity where I created a model, a cognitive model based on my experience that my clients find useful. For example, the model itself is shaped like a vortex. It's shaped like a funnel because I want guys to start tapping into this attractive energy around them, feeling a girl's energy. There are 4 key elements to getting a woman to fall in love. And these same 4 elements can be used for sex as well. By the way, this is the vortex of love, but you can very easily think of it as the vortex of sex as well. We want to build these 4 elements up to what I call equilibrium. And once they reach equilibrium or sexual equilibrium, if we're just looking for hooking up, the woman will spiral all the way down your vortex and you will either hook up with her or fall in love. And you will as well, right? This concept of the vortex, the 4 elements, there are some other frameworks in there as well. The 8 cubes, the 4 quadrants, the 5 paths. There's science to back these up, but these are also based on my experience. And they're logical, though. They're rational.
I get that. I just think there's a little bit of, backlash in the sense of if you're just basing your framework off patterns, off your own experience, everyone has different factors that play into the part. Different women have different ideas of like what they think a man would want or how they want to be courted. So I was just wondering if it's like why you actually studied why women respond to certain things like this, or I just know based off my experience, women respond to this.
That's a great point you bring up. So my industry, again, is full of people that say, this is what women want, therefore you should be this guy, right? The vortex of love says there are many different types of guys that women are attracted to, right?
Okay.
Let's look at 6 or 7 different frameworks and understand them. And then let's come up with a custom approach for you. So this is what surprises a lot of people when they found out I was writing a book. Oh, Erik thinks he knows what, women want, right? Let's see, right? This is not a book of this is what you should do and this is what women want. This is a much more open-minded. I want this book to be read by many different types of dudes. Whether you want to get really good with women or you just want to be you. Some guys are never going to be the big bad alpha male in the club. They want to play video games. They work a simple job. They're never going to make a ton of money and they just want to find a girlfriend. this is not the read this book and become the ultimate Mac Daddy, right? You can, by all means, if you read the Vortex of Love and you want to get really good at game, you can certainly do that.
I feel like that's what like most dating coaches or like this whole lifestyle that they're trying to portray online is like, you need to be the alpha male in the room. Like every woman needs to be like on their knees basically for you, you know, in a sense. And like, so it's really good to hear that you're trying to teach people just strategy and technique rather than saying, oh, be this like egotistical type of man because that's what's going to get you laid or basically.
Most of these coaches are average. Forgive me. I'm going to just call it what it is. I don't like to bash the competition. I'm going to bash the competition a little bit. Most coaches learn this stuff. They learn a few tricks and then they think they discovered the key to success. They self-identify as masters. You're going to call yourself a master? You know, there are martial artists that have studied martial arts for 50 fucking years and they don't call themselves masters. And you learned pickup 4 years ago and you're a master. Look, there's a certain type of game that women will respond to in a broad sense. Just like in music, there are certain time signatures and different keys and modes and, you know, different ways that you can catch people with a song, right? Catchy little hooky, poppy songs. That's what I view these coaches as. They're basically just teaching they're just giving pop dating advice. Follow this dating advice and it'll give you a foundation. But what if you want to create more complex music? What if you want to have more unique styles of game, you know? So I think some of the advice about being confident and being centered and, you know, get centered with your masculinity type advice, it's good for foundational improvement. But if you really want to take a guy to the next level, he needs to understand there are many different variations of this game.
So to kind of piggyback off of both of their questions, is there an archetype of a man that you are trying to, you know, instill in them? And then does that also combat against the red pill theory that is very popular on the internet nowadays?
If he wants to, right?
Okay.
If a guy really wants to know, Erik, you've done a good job of teaching me how to be my own man and how to develop a style of game that I like and blah, blah, blah. But what have you found works best? How do you run your game? I can certainly do that. And perhaps my second book will be more geared towards this is how I do it. I provide some examples of how I do it in this book. But I mean, yes, if we're going to there is a type of dude out there that gets more women than other guys. And I believe that I know what that guy is.
So what is it?
True. Get your notes.
What does he look
Get
like?
your notes out. True.
Right.
No,
What's the archetype?
Well, I'm gonna say it right off the thing. So kind of like what you're saying with the guy, it's like, you know, if you were talking about jiu-jitsu again, you get to a high level of like Gracie.
Yeah.
I mean, do you look at it like, I mean, when you say that, like, you learn from Mystery. You know, Mystery could essentially be the Gracie of this field.
Yeah.
And then how would you decipher who's right and who's wrong? Like who a bad pickup artist is and who's scamming versus who's...
This is why it's best to let other people debate who's the best, right? I've known Mystery for 10 years and I knew him for 10 years before I met him. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, Mystery does have incredible game.
Does it have something to do with his height? Now, like I heard her tell me 6'5", but Michael started saying
the women do love tall men.
Michael and them, the red pill guys.
We need some ugly short men.
Michael and
be dating coaches.
Michael and Rolo
they
have
can pull
always
game, and then they got it.
The 6 foot. And I mean, how do you feel about that?
I mean, height matters, right? But man, we're magnifying the height thing by focusing on it so much. You know what I mean? Like height matters, so get over it. You know what I mean? I'm a hairy dude. I'm not that hairy, but I have a hairy chest, right? For a hairy dude, I'm on the less hairy side of the spectrum. If a girl doesn't like a dude with a hairy chest, oh well, I don't get her.
Right.
You know what I mean? So but there's
a good analogy.
Yeah. So how do you
So in that pecking order of like, you know, who's great, where did Thundercat rank?
You know, it's been a while since I read his blog, but you know, he wound up in the game. You know, he had some of his articles were in the game, so that says something, right?
Yeah, no, that says a lot.
Have you guys heard of like the male lonely epidemic?
Sure.
They're going on that.
Absolutely.
Do you think that the red pill and toxic masculinity that they're promoting has contributed to that?
It's absolutely magnifying the problem. It is. And I know some red pill guys. I'm going to be meeting up with Rolo and Sartain to do a podcast later today. And
very red pill. Good guys.
Yeah, but there are really extreme red pillars, and then there are sort of the red pill guys, right? And I do think there's value to be extracted from red pill dating advice. The problem is it's gone a little bit over the top, And so guys get in this super negative mindset. They think women are superficial, shallow, irrational. All they care about is money and this and that. And then these podcasts draw a lot of negative attention, right? Women will jump in and say, this is bullshit on social media or whatever.
Yeah.
Now you're feeding the algorithm. Now more lonely dudes are gravitating to it, and you have a negative cycle that, spirals. So I think that guys need to learn from the red pill stuff, but they need to put it in perspective, not let it rule them. Yes, women have a dark side. Oh my God. Like men don't have a dark side.
Yeah, because like Michael and Rolo, they'll talk about a lot of data, but I'm just like, and a lot of things, I mean, that's just like saying you read a data on how your success rate is. But I'm like, I don't know. I mean, do you believe that the data is correct that you're reading on, these different types of stuff?
I do. But like, so you only need to look out the window. You don't need data. You don't need evolutionary psychologists, right? Guys with big muscles, with cool cars that make money, that are smart, that have social connections. Generally speaking, they're going to attract more women, right? Okay, so the question that every guy needs to ask himself is, do I want to transform myself into that type of dude, regardless of who I am naturally, right? Maybe that's who you're meant to be, and you're not owning that, and you need to step into that and be that fucking badass, right? Or maybe you need to look at that guy, extract some of what he knows, incorporate it into your spirit in whatever that means, right? And find your niche, right?
And why do you think women, a lot of things I see out here too, so they'll talk about these high value women. A lot of these high value women date very low value guys. There's the ones that like they'll pay their shit. They'll like, and it's you look at them from the outside, they're like, you think they want guys that got money and going to take care of them, but on the real, they got the most normal guy and they're taking care of the guy.
I have seen that.
Well, listen, when I was in high school,
before you answer that, Erik, can you point the other direction? People might think you're talking about me.
I said guilty. I said guilty.
I'm not talking
No,
about
it's not Will. Not Will over here. No.
Definitely not Will.
But listen, when I was in high school, there were the cool kids and then there were the wannabe cool kids, okay? And I can say that because I believe that there was a time where I was a wannabe cool kid. I was fringe cool. I hung out with the popular crowd, but I didn't quite get it. And I did a good job. I did a good job of faking cool, right? And as I got a little older and I experienced some painful things in life, as life will dole out some pain, right? And I became more humbled. I realized there is a difference between somebody who's genuinely cool and someone who's just playing cool. And I think that that's still the case. You go to Vegas and you go around the clubs, there are people that look really fucking cool and they're not. And then there are people that look really fucking cool and they are, Someone can have a lot of money and a lot of flash and still be a down-to-earth, humble human being, So the quote-unquote high-value girls and the quote-unquote high-value guys, what makes her high value? She's a hot girl in the club. Let's have a conversation.
I mean, that's what I always say that.
Morals, values, maybe if she has her own money, she's financially stable, owns her house, stuff like that. That's what I would say makes a high value woman.
For sure.
Someone that doesn't need you, a woman that doesn't need you makes her a high value woman.
Yeah. Do you feel, so like in dating, do you feel like, like how most, like say a guy just isn't there yet, like successful enough with money. Do you feel like that's, you got to get them up to this point? Because I believe there's girls out there that if you don't have money, I mean, there's no chance at all.
Sure.
The ones that are like, you got to support me in everything I'm doing. Now, I've always done that. And I think it's just how I grew up, how I was raised. I always paid for everything. And I always say, even with a guy.
That's a good one too. I got a question off that one.
Like,
how do you feel about the men paying for everything? Do you think that's mandatory, or do you feel like, I don't know, what do you think about that?
Once again, I don't have a rule book for the universe, right? But I have found that it depends on the woman's ideal. There are some women that want a dude with money, and that is a fucking deal breaker. If you're not making big bucks, it's a deal breaker. Who am I to say that she's wrong? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe she's right. I don't think she is. I've found that most women just don't want a guy that's lazy. Let's put it that way. If I meet a guy and he's lazy, that's going to really cut out a large pool of available women, right? But if he's hardworking and he's passionate about what he does and he's making at least average money, I mean, there have been times in my life where I wasn't doing so well financially and I was doing just fine with women, So it depends on the woman and her ideal. It's multifactorial. It's not a black and white. It's not a black and white thing.
Wow, that's crazy. What do you got written over there, Rachel?
Well, I was just like saying, you had Venusian, like it was a Venusian artist.
Venusian artist.
And
Thank you for bringing
saying
that
that
up.
correctly. I'm like, what is that? I've never even heard of that word. I thought you were talking about like the Venetian here in Vegas. I was like, what? You do who?
So I'm going to credit Mystery for this term. He's the one who coined the term Venusian artist. So martial artist comes from the word Mars, god of war. Venusian artist comes from Venus, god of love. So the Venusian arts are the mirror opposite of the martial arts. They're the arts of love. So I like to view my journey through this through the lens of a Venusian artist, not a pickup artist. Pickup artist was the term used because VH1 knew that it would catch. Mystery wanted this show to be called the Venusian artist, and they said that's too abstract. We're going to call it the pickup artist. And now he's been stuck with the label pickup artist.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So pickup artist, Mystery's wingman, Ablaze. Okay, I guess I'll accept it. Venusian artist, wingman of Mystery, Ablaze, dating coach for men. Those are the terms that resonate with me more.
So you've been out with Mystery. I mean, do you so you're essentially, you learn from him. You're doing what he's doing. Do you feel like he's superior over you as far as the girls? Or are you guys just totally different?
Oh, man, you're going to make me put my sensei on blast like that. So, look, I truly like to view everybody as having their own unique art. Is Led Zeppelin better than Pink Floyd? I may like Pink Floyd better than Led Zeppelin, but my favorite song of all time is Stairway to Heaven, which is a Zeppelin song, So I try not to judge other people's art. If I'm really going to be shrewd, do I think that women like me better than Mystery? I'm going to just plead the fifth. I'm going to plead the fifth on that one. But no, let me say this. Mystery has game. And women love Mystery.
Mystery's been along for so long. Somebody said earlier something about shelf life. I mean, for people who might have been with him back then, I mean, did he have more? Is it slowing down with age?
Well, look, I've known him for 10 years, and 10 years ago when I first met him, my first experience was watching him, pick up a relatively attractive 25-year-old woman with relative ease, Is he still pulling 22 to 25-year-old women with total ease? He's not looking for that. He's looking for someone who's more mature. He's looking for a girlfriend. He's 54. He's slowing down a little bit.
He's never been married?
He has not been married, but he has 2 beautiful children.
2 kids? Okay.
Yeah. Put it this way. Mystery still has game. He still has game, absolutely. But I don't care how good your game is, you're going to slow down. You know what I mean? Like a boxer. No matter how good of a boxer you are, as you start hitting your 40s and 50s, your reflexes are not the same. And
you see that now in UFC. I mean, people are hitting 36, 37, and I feel like UFC now is a young man's sport. I mean,
but let's put it this way. For 54 years old, Mystery has fucking game. Okay, most 54-year-olds cannot do what Mystery does. Let's just say that.
Has he chosen, to remain in this pickup field, or has he ever gotten to the point where he said, like, I'd like to settle down and be married? Or is it hard with what he's doing to do that?
He would. It has to be the right person. He is extremely particular. He wants what he wants. There's a certain level of attractiveness. There's a certain amount of attraction to a woman's personality that needs to be there. I have encouraged him in various ways to adjust his standards a little bit, let's say. There's times where we meet a woman, I'm like, dude, what is wrong with this woman right here? Oh, I don't know if I'm totally feeling it, this and that. why don't you just give it a little time? Sometimes you have to give relationships a little time to develop. But no, he's open to it all. Mystery lives in a very open-minded state. He's an artist. He likes hooking up. He likes attractive women. He likes doing pickup, but he also likes relationships, and he likes to be in love, and he likes the peace of all that.
So somebody told me Mystery does magic.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, here the thing, I mean, we know a guy, Carl Michael, shout out to him. But I just feel like magic is like that universal. Like if you can do magic, I feel like that is it's like a conversation starter.
Like you're already making the woman smile. You did half the job already.
Yeah, I see the girls just flock to this guy, and he's doing hands and card tricks and shit.
He's incredible at that. He doesn't do card tricks.
I heard you just say sleight of hand. You say sleight of hand.
He thinks card tricks are a little bit cheesy, and he says because it's always the same punchline. Is this your card?
Yeah.
So. He doesn't carry
true.
a deck of cards, but he can levitate objects. He can read minds. He can do all sorts of sleight of hand, and he blows people away in field with his magic.
Now, does his magic make him the level that he's at as a pickup artist?
He's demonstrated that he can do it without his magic, right? There was a period of time where people were saying that, oh yeah, you're just, your magic is kind of your shield. So he stopped using magic. And he found that when he removes the magic and he just uses conversation, that it can be just as effective. But he's such a great illusionist and he's such a great magician. Why not use your strengths?
So, I want to go back to something to piggyback off of what True mentioned. And when someone who is of high status, whether it's financially, looks, or whatever, do you think that sometimes it's harder for them because of the level of vulnerability that they have to give off and the level of exposure because of whether they're a high stature, whether they're a celebrity or certain things of that nature? Like, do you sometimes deal with men in that space where they're like, okay, am I meeting women for me? Or is it because I got money, I got cars, I got all of these things? Is that something that they have to think about?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's harder. I would say they have a different set of problems, right?
Okay.
So certainly they attract certain types of women that are in it for the wrong reason, right? But quality problems, I'd rather be rich and have problems, than there's problems when you have too much money, right? Oh, how do I invest all this money? Those are quality problems. So, but no, there are guys that have high status that just don't have game too.
Right.
The ones that do have game, they're high status and they have game as well. They're usually interested in pushing their game to even higher levels too. We have some of those guys that are they want to maximize every area of their life. They want to train with the best financial consultants. They want the best fitness trainers. They want the best Venusian artists and dating coaches by their side, right? So there's a different set of problems they deal with. They have to worry about gold diggers. They have to worry about escalating on a woman too abrasively, right? Sometimes the guy in the bar who nobody knows, he can be a little bit more abrasive and say some callous stuff, and the girl says, fuck off, But if Leonardo DiCaprio says something a little too abrasive to a girl, he can't use the same boldness, so different problems. Definitely. I wouldn't say harder, but different problems.
Well, that's what I've told people, and something that I've dealt with my whole life is you could be just out in the crowd at Coachella, right, walking around, and no girl likes you or talk to you. But the minute you're on stage performing, they automatically like you. And people are like, you would think people would take advantage of that. But I've had to tell people like, that does not make you feel good. Because in my heart, I know that they probably don't like me. But for that moment, that's why they like me. And I said, I struggle back and forth like, well, do I just take advantage of it, the fact that, or not? And I'm just like, no, it's not a good feeling.
It's not. And guys that have never experienced that, they don't understand that. They think, oh, I'd love to be famous and be able to just shoot and fish in a barrel, right?
Have a flock of women.
Yeah, it does not feel good when a woman doesn't like you for you,
Yeah, and I can see that with rich guys, with like what you're saying, cars and stuff. I know that
they have everything.
I know
but
that those guys are like, I got the nice car and the nice house, and they know that girl doesn't like them. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like, it's just, but people can, they're just like.
Well, I feel like there's people that are chasing that on a surface level because they never had money, they never had status, they never had this. They want to feel that because it's almost like filling a void. You know what I mean? Those people, I feel like they can only do it for so long until they realize, like, what do I actually have?
I will say though, I think that at some point, depending on how you grew up, like you say, whether you
Exactly.
were cool for real or you were just faking the funk. I think that every man wants to feel that. But then once they see what it actually feels like, I think then that's when they start to seclude them. Like, no, I don't know if they really like me for me or whatever the case may be. So I think sometimes they just have to go through that level of experience. Is that something you would agree with?
Most. I wouldn't say every man wants to experience it, but I would say most.
Okay.
Right? Most men would love to be able to hook up with a lot of hot women.
Right.
Let's just call it plain and simple. I've been using a lot of technical jargon here. Most men want to hook up with a lot of hot women, at least at some point in their life for a little spell.
Right.
And then maybe find someone more. But you know what? That's the trap, you know? Like the right woman's not going to just appear because you're ready.
Yeah.
Some people think, oh, I'm going to hook up with a lot of women for 3 years and then I'm going to find my wife. How do you know you're going to find your wife? Just, you know,
she could have already passed through you. You used her as the hookup and you just didn't, you missed the, and do you feel like that? I was just telling my son this the other day and he's 20. I said, you come across people, you know, I've only came across like maybe 3, 4, 5 people that like when you see them, you know, like, you know that they're the one. And I'm like, I always tell my son, like, versus looking at everybody.
3, 4, 5, the one.
You're the one.
No, but I mean, I feel like if I
them.
said the past 5 girls, I knew it from the moment I saw them. So it's a feeling that I'm just like, I know I'm going to be with that person. And it's happened.
Yeah.
You know, like just based on like, I mean, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be looks, doesn't have to be whatever. It's just kind of like friends too. People that have came in my life, even as guys, I'm like, I fuck with that guy.
Yeah.
And I just known him for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I know this dude's going to, you know, roll with me for the,
it's like a premonition almost.
I mean, sometimes you can be wrong.
Intuition.
Obviously.
I used to think I had that feeling and I just realized it was a trauma response.
Trauma response?
Yeah, you're attracted to like the same type of person. Something in that person is igniting you. Why you're always dating Geminis. You know, something about it.
So I want to ask you, but I'm gonna skip over you, being that your wife's here. What do you think Mystery's body count is?
My wife's a good sport. She can handle different things, but no, I don't talk about my body count.
Okay.
There are some pickup artists out there that shamelessly talk about 300, 700. There's some that...
Does Mystery talk about it, or has he remained a mystery about it too?
he has publicly stated it at one point in the past. I want to say a good 10 or 15 years ago, he talked about having been with over 300 women.
Wow.
And since then, he has not.
It's probably 1,000 now.
Yeah, no, but hang on. But 300's not that bad.
No, it's terrible.
I just saw Ray J on a podcast, and he had said Wilt Chamberlain was with like 20,000, and then
20,000.
I didn't even count that.
Well, that's why I said, how do you keep up? Ray J on a podcast said he was been over 10,000. But again, I mean, I've never counted that.
Well, so here's the thing too, you know, Mystery's not somebody who's just racking up numbers. He's very particular about the way it goes down, as am I, if I may say so, right? There's been a time where maybe the numbers mattered when I was younger and I thought, I got to get above this number or this number. But really, it's about the experience. It's about being in the moment. It's about, you know, the Venusian arts have always been a way for me to just sort of lose myself in the moment. And it's about self-actualization. It's about overcoming my fears. It's about living a life unencumbered, you know, and Mystery sort of lives the same way. So he's been with quite a few women in his day, but I can tell you from knowing him, he's very particular. He's not just racking up numbers. If he was trying to rack up numbers, he would be way higher than 300 or wherever he's at now.
Yeah, 300 for someone his age. I don't think that's not that bad. I don't think
there's a qualitative side of the equation, and I don't mean qualitative as in like quality women. I don't think of women as high quality and low quality. I mean, there's a qualitative, you know, did I do this the right way? Did I stay true to myself? Similar to sales, right? Like you can rack up a bunch of sales by lying and manipulating people, or you can honestly, authentically sell things, you know? So
I mean, if he's been, let's just say 300 and just give him an example. Why would I listen to him if he's been with 300 women and he's not married in a sense? You know, why have you been with so many women and none of them really, you know, you didn't want to get on the knee for any of them?
That's a good one.
Well, this gets into deeper aspects of Mystery psychology.
Maybe not mystery in a sense, but just like pickup
just anybody
artists, you know,
in general.
Just in
general.
A lot of
How are they valid?
Yeah, so I think that there is such a thing as going through a wild phase and then still wanting to settle down and have something deeper. And whether it, this is another, we talked about the red pill advice, the idea that once a woman is, had been with so many guys, her body count is whatever, her ability to have a serious relationship is reduced. And there's data and stuff to support that. It can get harder to settle down the more people you hook up with, the more you get used to a certain lifestyle. But I think there are a lot of people out there that like you said, Will, right? They want to experience a certain thing, but ultimately they do want to find love and they want to settle. I would say that I fall under that category. There was a time in my life where it was just all about fun and adventure and transcendence and not being tied to anybody. And I wanted to hook up with lots of women. That's still in me. You know what I mean? Like I can look at the primal animalistic side of my psychology and I can see a hot woman and think that'd be a good time, right? But my soul is so entwined and interlaced now with my wife and just, I'm thinking about bigger things. I'd like to have a family. I'd like to have children. I like reading. I like sleeping. I don't need to be out just hooking up with women all day.
Yeah, that's the hard part, like especially living here in Vegas, I feel like when I've met new women and like I said, they all seem to be the same, to meet someone and then be like, oh, let's go to Excess and then we're going to go to Dre's and then we're going to go to the Rhino. And it's like, I've already done that.
Yeah.
I've already been to every party and festival and I don't want to be there no more.
Yeah.
But it's like, do you still have to roll with them if you're interested and restart that process again, or you just don't even get involved because you've outgrown it?
It depends on the woman, right? Are you saying for me when I go out with students? Are you saying like if you're a guy and you want?
He's talking about I think for
I'm saying just for myself.
Yeah.
Like so I meet a type of girl and it's like they're like, hey, we're gonna go to Excess and we're gonna go to the Dre's and then we're gonna go.
You have to decide.
And like he's interested in
you
that
have
girl.
to decide how much of that lifestyle am I willing to indulge in, right? And I think honesty is the best policy because what you'll find is a lot of women aren't even all about that. They're going there because their friends are going there, and you're like, man, wouldn't it be nice to just make a nice dinner and like hook up and watch some TV?
Got the last few like uncompliments have been that people have said like like you're really boring.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, like I'm a homebody. Like
you have a different speed of life now.
Yeah, different. Yeah, I'm into different stuff, like that. Like you said, I don't want to stay out all night. I don't want to walk out of Dre's and the sun hit you in the face. Yeah.
Go find your girl at the coffee shop or the library.
See, I got to point something out, right?
Yeah.
You just said you're in a different speed of life now, right? See, there are so many podcasts out there right now where they bring women on and they frame questions a certain way and they gang up on the women and they go, see, women don't know shit about dating and relationships. Has there been any topic that we've discussed on this entire podcast that these women did not understand? They fucking understand this shit. There's this idea that women are not logical or rational. Never appeal to her rational mind, her logical mind. A woman is very capable of feeling a certain way about a guy. Okay, this guy makes me feel something. But let me put my emotions aside for a second and really look at who he is. Let me talk to my girlfriends about it. Let me run him through a bunch of different filters. I actually think that women are highly rational when it comes to making certain decisions. Some more than others. Some are more on the emotional side. But man, women learn this stuff at a much younger age, generally speaking, than we do. Women are steeped in this.
And then pickup, do you say for guys, I mean, the maturity level, my mom and dad were 10 years apart. And my dad always told me, women are a lot more elevated. They normally date up because when you date down, you're just not on the same like competency level or.
So once again, if we look at the science, and I talk about this in the book, right? If we look at the science of mate selection across times and culture, different periods of time and cultures, yes. If we're going to generalize, women are drawn to men with resources. And not only that have resources, but that demonstrate a willingness to share those resources. A man that has resources but isn't willing to share resources is not as attractive, right? So yes, there are certain things that we know women are drawn to from an animalistic side, right? Like without any social programming, without any upbringing, without any education. But what about the way that her parents raised her to be, What about the values that were instilled in her? What about her own experiences in life? So this is, again, what gets into ideal mate theory, the idea that women have an ideal in their mind, and the more closely we line up with that ideal, the more she will consciously or subconsciously be attracted to us. And let me flip that on its head once as well. I also talk about a concept that I did invent, actually, that at the very end of the mate selection theories, where I call, it's what I call ideal game theory. And the idea is, instead of meeting a woman and thinking, what type of guy is this girl looking for? What is the ideal in her head? And how should I shape shift to be the type of dude she wants? How do I want to run my game? What is the song that I want to sing? Rather than, let me sharpen this blade for this one and this one for that, I'm sharpening one massive katana called my game.
Yeah. Is there, what was I going to say? Is there such thing as a female pickup artist?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do they have?
We actually, in the heyday of the pickup scene, there were some female pickup artists, and they had pickup names, and they never got super popular. They got semi-popular. But I actually really want to train women to teach the Vortex and to coach with me, because I believe that women can grok this stuff really quickly and could probably be really badass coaches. I think there's a little bit of training that's needed, but no, I want female coaches. I want female pickup artists or Venusian artists to get on board with this. You know, I want women to read this book.
Interesting.
This book, The Vortex of Love, How to Get a Woman to Fall in Love with You, was intended to be read and endorsed by women. I want women to read this book and go, holy shit, every dude needs to read this fucking book, like, now. And I will stand by that. I truly believe that if I could get this book into enough women's hands, they will spread it to the dudes they know. It's a lot, though. It's a 642-page magnum opus style book. If you're looking for superficial, easy dating advice, this is not the book.
Do you have the recording version of that?
Soon.
That's like reading Atlas Shrugged.
Audiobook coming soon. But you know what? It's so much better to read it, because you can control the speed at which you read so much easier. You have to rewind an audiobook. Rewind. You can read the same sentence over and over way faster. So reading is still, I think, the number one way to transmit knowledge from one brain to another, from one human mind to another. So even if you're more of an audiobook guy, you're going to get way more value out of this book if you just get settled into it and read it the old school way.
Yeah, no, I've never did audio, but I always laugh. Like, I don't know why. I've never been a book person since school. So, I mean, they're like, what is it? They kind of like scare me. Like, I'm like, I feel like I haven't read a book in so long that it's like, yours was very nice, easy read. But I feel like, that they intimidate me.
No, you can do it, man. Listen, I made this book. It's complex, and yet most people have said it's very well written. And even though they can tell there's very heavy knowledge being transmitted to them, I've made it easy and digestible. So even if your reading muscles have atrophied a little bit, I would encourage you to read it, even if you have to read it at a snail's pace, and your reading muscles will build back up, and you'll find yourself able to get into a flow.
And why do you think it took you 4 years to write that?
Oh man, because I was a perfectionist. That's
what I feel like for me.
I needed to connect with the universe at every point throughout the writing process. If I was not in the right headspace, my wife can attest to this, I did not like what came out. So I needed to be in the right headspace, the artistic realm, wherever that is. I used to tell my wife, I'm going to outer space now. Don't bother me, please. I love you, but I need to go to outer space. And I wrote it from that state. I refined it and adjusted it and went over it a bazillion times in that state. It's a 250,000 word book, but it was literally, I wrote millions upon millions of words to shave it down to this. And it was my first book, so I just wanted it to be really good. If I write a second book, it's going to be like 80% rule. Like, is this 80, 90% good to go? It's fucking ship it. You know what I mean?
So no ghostwriter on this one.
No ghostwriter. No AI. This was written by I, as in me. No AI. This is my life's work right here.
Do you feel like people are doing a lot of AI books?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's so easy.
Yeah.
So easy.
Or hire someone.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we get out of here, can you tell people where they can find you at, where we can find Mystery at?
Yeah. So datingcoachformen.com is my website. Datingcoachformen.com/book is where you can get my book. It's also on Amazon. The Vortex of Love, How to Get a Woman to Fall in Love with You. Erik Carlberg is my name. And then if you want to train with me in mystery, you go to askmystery.com/student-application, and you can fill out an application to train with us. Or just askmystery.com is Mystery's home base. And then on IG, it's at Ask Mystery or at Dating Coach for Men.
Now on that, what does something like that cost?
This book?
People? No, like the
program.
The program.
Oh, the training, yeah. So
with Mystery and yourself, what does something like
is
this
it like
cost?
a flat rate?
The standard boot camp is $5,000, and it goes all the way up to $13,000 for our residential. That's where you actually get to live in an Airbnb with Mystery himself and me, and train with us for 5 days. So it's between $5,000 and $13,000. We have some other things in the works. We're going to be
You guys
hopefully.
take Klarna?
What's that?
You take Klarna?
Klarna.
Buy now, pay later. He's like, what is that? Buy now, pay later.
That fee
After
actually
pay.
isn't bad.
Okay, yeah.
No, I do
Payments.
Klarna.
That fee actually isn't bad because people will pay to go to a Tony Robbins event for 2 days for $7,500.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's
We have
not
some
a
more
bad
exclusive offerings as well. We offer some one-on-one. Mystery doesn't do one-on-one, but he's authorized me to do one-on-one on his behalf. And those packages can get pretty pricey depending on the level of training someone wants. Although I try to keep that affordable as well.
And how do you guys go about advertising that to the public? How do you get it out there?
But Mystery, from his fame, he still draws a lot of organic traffic to his website. People are searching for him on Google. They find him on IG. His IG followers should be much higher than they are right now, though. We're in the process of building that back
we
up.
always, we're just being on a show, we always say, same thing. We're like, a lot of people are surprised. I'm like, I don't look at numbers. Mystery's been around so long that I put him like a Pamela Anderson. You look at her IG, 200,000. Do you really think she has 200,000? More like 200 million.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if there was social media back then, Mystery would be in the millions.
Yes. Yes.
So we don't. I always tell people we don't look at numbers. On stuff like that. So
no, a lot of people don't even know that Mystery's still around. Just the last 10 years, he's done sort of these one-off boot camps. There hasn't been a coordinated effort to build his social media. I recently took over the last year as his U.S. agent and U.S. sponsor, and we're going to be implementing some new things. So if anyone listening to this, if you're in that realm of, brand building and lead generation and so forth, I'd love to hear from you.
What do you say to somebody that really wants to take your course, but they can't afford it?
This is a very heartbreaking thing for me, right? Because I want to reach the guys that really need help. And some guys that really need help can't afford the training. We do offer some less expensive one-on-one packages that you could do with me. For example, I can jump on Zoom calls with guys if they've only got a few $1,000 or even a few $100. I can't give you a ton of training for a few $100, but it's better than nothing. Mystery has a digital store where you can buy his books and different products and so forth. This book right here is not a lead magnet. It's not meant to upsell anyone. You pay $33.99 or whatever it is, and you can transform your life on your own as well with just self-study. So you've got to get into the game, though. Just because you can't afford to train, you got to get into the game and stay in the game.
And what do you guys have coming up? You said you were going to LA next?
Yeah. We just did Vegas. We're going to LA, Nashville, New York, Miami, Dallas. That's our
I
tour.
even saw on his page, did it say you guys were going out of the country?
That's another arm of his business that I'm not involved in.
Okay.
So he does do some boot camps overseas, but I'm the U.S. arm of the operation.
Even though you're from Canada?
No, I'm Chicago.
Oh, you're Chicago?
Hey.
Oh, okay.
Mystery's Canada.
Mystery's Canada. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why I thought you were Canada.
Yeah.
How about you, Little Rach? Where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me on the interwebs at Lil Rach, LALRAYCH.
At Mr. Will Roundtree, MRWILLROUNDTREE, across all social media platforms.
How about you, Miss Dana?
I'm on Instagram at june.allyear or my website, danajune.com.
And what about you, True?
You can just find me just at Green Room Everything. And we appreciate you coming.
This was actually good.
Thank you so much.
I didn't know what
Thank you
to
for having
expect,
me.
honestly.
No,
but
Very
this
Learned a lot.
unfortunate that Mystery
really
couldn't
good.
make it, but I know that we will definitely have you guys back next time you're in and around. Stuff happens. This is Las Vegas, so
Yeah.
But we appreciate you coming. I mean, I don't know how much clearer the message could have been.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And shout out to Thundercat.
Oh yeah.
Jesus.
Right.
Now we got an in-house dating guy.
Let's go, dude.
All right. Thank you guys.
you.
Peace out.
See ya.
Green Room Radio.